Now we'll begin the high poly modeling of our rocket. When modeling props, I generally like to create the prop at scale or close to scale. Sometimes props are quite small and it can be easier to create the prop at a larger scale and then scale down when complete. So first thing we're going to do is create a box that is close to human scale, about 183 centimeters, which is about 6 feet tall. So I'll go over here to create, click on box, and drag a box out to be about 183 centimeters. Come over here to the side, type in 183. I'll make him a little bit smaller on the width. So that's about the size of a human. Now that we have a good human scale ref, we can eyeball how large we want this rocket to be. So let's start by creating a cylinder and giving it a reasonable name. I've already created one, so I'm going to unhide that so that you can see what I've created. I named it Footprint. Now I'm going to click Unhide. So here we go. Now we have a rocket that is in the same scene with the human scale ref, and it looks about the right size. I'll begin the high poly modeling at the front of the rocket, the sleeve that holds the camera lens in place. I'll zoom in so you can see what I'm talking about. I'm thinking this area right here. What I need to do first, though, is rename this box to human scale, so we know what he is. And I'm also going to hide him so he doesn't get in the way of our modeling. I've already created the sleeve of this rocket, so I'm going to unhide that to show you what I'm speaking of. I'm going to go up to the Layer Explorer. I'm going to unhide pieces. As you can see, I have all the pieces for this rocket already made, so I want to show you how I created the sleeve of the rocket. So here's the high poly sleeve. I'm going to hide these other pieces so they don't get in the way of me demonstrating. Now that I have the sleeve selected, I will show you how I go about doing the high poly modeling of this sleeve. To do the high poly modeling, I used a technique called the double turbo smooth. Here's how to do the double turbo smooth technique. First, I'm going to hide this footprint to get it out of the way. I'm going to select our sleeve here. I'll also hide this Scene Explorer so that that's not in the way as well. I'm going to go to materials so that we can have a better view of what we're working with here. I'm going to put on a darker material so you can better see the mesh. As you can see, it's made up by multiple different pieces. Each piece is comprised of equally spaced quads. Equally spaced quads really help in the double turbo smooth technique to make sure that you get a clean model. So first I'm going to select this top piece here. As you can see, I cut out these indentations. For this technique, you're going to have to make sure that you change your smoothing group so that you get sharp edges. So to do so, first I'm going to go over to the Modify panel. I'm going to select Element here, select the element, and I'm going to clear all so you can see what I've done on the Smoothing Groups panel here. Now with them all selected, I'm going to hit Auto Smooth at 45 degrees. So now it's been auto smoothed. And as you can see, these polygons here have one smoothing group of 1, whereas this polygon group here has a smoothing group of 3. So I'm going to turn off polygons. So now I need to add the Turbo Smooth modifier onto that piece. As you can see, I've configured my modifier sets. I suggest you do this because it will help speed up time in navigating the modifier list. To do so, you click on this button and then hit Configure Modifier Sets. It will give you a list of all the different modifiers that come with Max, and you can add the amount of buttons you want. I've previously chosen 16, and now I'm going to go find Turbo Smooth. So I'm going to scroll down, choose Turbo Smooth, click and drag it over to this empty spot, and hit OK. What I'm also going to do is customize and save my UI. This way, every time I open up 3ds Max, it'll be there how I saved it, making sure everything is selected. I will also save again so it goes to a different one, the MaxStar UI, as opposed to it was just a workspace, but I want it to be this way every time I open Max. So I'm going to hit Save. Go through the same steps, make sure everything is selected, and hit OK. Now that I have Turbo Smooth in my modifier sets here, I'm going to click it to activate it. As you can see, Turbo Smooth has been applied, but it looks really smushy. So what we're going to go down here and do is turn on Smoothing Groups. Once Smoothing Groups has been activated, it sharpens it up a little bit more. What we do now is add another Turbo Smooth on top of this previous Turbo Smooth modifier. So now we have 2 Turbo Smooths within the stack. I'm going to kick the iterations up to 2 and turn on Iceline Display. This way we can see what we're looking at. And now I'm going to turn off the edge view so we have a better look at what this piece looks like. It looks alright, but it's still a little soft. So I'm going to go down here to the first Turbo Smooth and kick the iterations up to 2 as well. And then I'm going to go to the top so we can see what it looks like. Much better. Now I'm going to apply this technique to these other pieces of the front of the rocket. But there are other pieces within the project that use a different technique that I'll explain later on. So for this piece here, I've already set up my smoothing groups earlier. What I've done is created my own script for Double Turbo Smooth. I find it to be a lot quicker to have my own script and be able to just click one button instead of having to navigate and hit multiple. I'll also share the script with you and then show you how to create scripts yourself. That way you can make scripts that might speed you up in your own process. Now that I have these high poly pieces modeled for the front of the camera sleeve, I'm going to use the Bend of Brothers script by Alexander Delagrange. Let me show you his site. Bend of Brothers is a great script. He offers it for free, but I suggest donating to him because it's a worthy script in my opinion. I'm going to select these pieces and now run the Bend of Brothers script. I've set the script to be a button upon my shelf. I'm going to click Bend of Brothers. I'm going to hit the Y-axis, make sure that the circle is selected, and click Bend. Now it shows you a preview of what it looks like. Now I'm going to go over here and click on Bend, open that up, and select the gizmo. I'll scroll back, and if you move along any of these axes, you can change the size. It's a great script, and I really enjoy it. So now that's the size I'd like it to be. I'm going to go over here and hit Finish. Once I hit Finish, my original pieces go away, and I am committed to this piece. I'm going to add an Edit Poly modifier on top of it and collapse 2. Now I'm going to unhide the footprint so that I can arrange this guy exactly where I want him. Unhide by name, pick footprint, unhide, and adjust him where I want him. I'm going to go to an orthographic viewport and move him where I think he makes sense. There we go. Zoom back out. I really enjoy the Double Turbo Smooth technique's results and ease of use. I have made a script to speed up the process, and in the next movie, I will show you how to do the same so you can keep up.